Hello and welcome to Up the Villa podcast. If you are new to our channel, subscribe, get involved in the comment section down below, like this video and subscribe. It is your last chance on Sunday evening to vote for us for the Football Content Awards. So if you can just go and head over to footballcontentawards.com, click on this little section here on how to vote. Just go down onto the voting page. We're entering in Best New Content Creator. So type in UTV Podcast, scroll to the bottom of the screen, agree to the terms, and just press vote. And that is it. That is how you vote for Up the Villa Podcast. So I think we'll find out in about mid-September. So hopefully we can get to the finals with your help, who are all watching. Just do that. Takes 2 seconds. And yeah, so Aston Villa 1, Manchester City 1. I mean, the optimistic fans in the fan base, the most positive that would cling on to anything, would not have imagined we'd have got a point. And I would like to say that I thought we were absolutely fantastic. I thought we showed courage, bravery, belief. We believed that we could get something from the game. We had energy. We sort of played in a system that really worked. We had the desire to get the points, and I just thought we were brilliant. I think, it was always going to be a difficult game against Manchester City, and I think going into the game on the severe pressure that Steven Gerrard was under, I've got to take my hat off to him, because we criticise when it's bad. We criticise him all the time, and it has been bad, but I think he got it absolutely spot on. So fair play, Steven Gerrard. Hopefully this is now the start of this team believing in what he's trying to put across to the team, and hopefully we can build on this now. It's really important that we build on it, because it means nothing if we go over to Leicester and don't take anything. So for me, I thought we were really good, and we'll go into it a little bit more on why we think it was good, who we thought played well. But I was camping in Wales, so I had to miss the game. But Justin, you were there. Talk to me. What was it like?
Oh, mate, it was amazing. Honestly, following football clubs is so up and down, isn't it? But we all went there with no very little expectations, if any. But I did have the new hat on, so I'm taking some credit for the new lucky hat. But yeah, walking to the ground, you sort of felt a bit apprehensive, thinking, pensive. We're sort of talking, how's it going to go? And if we concede a lot today, if it's really bad, is he going to be under danger of getting the boot this week? Or, you can't help but think these negative things. But the wonderful thing about football is, and this is why we love this game so much, is just when you think, you're at rock bottom and you can't see a way out, you watch your beloved team do that. And I know it was a draw, but for me, it was as good as a win based on what had come before it. I thought the tactics were right. I thought the mentality was right. I thought the attitude was spot on. And I thought, first off, we sort of got ourselves into the game. Obviously, they have lots of possession, long periods of possession, but we never panicked. We didn't rush anything. We didn't look like it just there was a different atmosphere on the game. It's really hard to sort of explain it. It just felt like something was happening. The longer the first half went, the more I thought, if we could just hold on another 10 minutes here, let's get to half time, not concede. And then half time, obviously, they came out, and if I'm honest, I don't think that was the best Man City that you've seen this season. But I think that has to happen if you're going to get a result against the top sort of sides. And
But you know what I think happened before half time on a Villa perspective? It was when Watkins was clean through. And for me, that moment was when I thought those players on that pitch were like, you know what? We can do this.
Yeah,
Because it was clean through, and it was a massive chance. And I just felt, for me, that was when the belief set in.
absolutely. I think there was that instance, and then the instance when we nicked the ball and he put Ramsey in as well. Unlucky with his first touch, a bit heavy. But those are the things, the little bits of belief that all of a sudden make the team, like you say, believe that it's not an impossible thing, and it's not an impossible thing. It's two teams. Yes, they are a phenomenal side, and you know they are an unreal team to watch. And Haaland is an animal. He's just huge, and he's imposing, and his touch is amazing, and he's just unreal. But we stood up to him. We didn't get bullied by them. I thought Mings was outstanding against Haaland. Yes, Haaland scored, but quite frankly, the ball in from De Bruyne was ridiculous. I mean, you got Amy Martinez at full stretch, and he just lifted over his hat, and he didn't have to break stride, Haaland. And at that point, you're thinking, oh, here we go. But we didn't. Our heads didn't drop even then. We looked like we were going to redouble our efforts, and then we did create one or two chances, and when the goal went in, honestly, I said to Dave, who sits next to me, I said, if we could get something here, if we could just let us score here, I said, because you could feel that atmosphere was like just ready to ignite in that stadium. I thought I looked round because I'm sitting in the sort of corner of the Trinity and I can see the whole stadium. And I just thought, God Almighty, this stadium would be amazing if we could score. Then when the ball got squared, it happened so quickly as well. Sort of Ramsey just fed it across, and it was like split second, bang, he's in the net. And the scenes, honestly, I went down about 6 rows, I think, after we scored, just grabbing anybody I could get hold of and screaming. And it was like all the pent up frustration and emotion and annoyance that we've built up all season just went split second gone. But yeah, I mean, and then after that, barring a ridiculous decision, we'll come on to that. We could have got the winner, but it was. And at the end of the game, it was lovely to see them all so happy. And Gerrard was on the pitch, and he's took pelters this season, and rightly so. To be fair, at times he has got things wrong, and I think the last 3 games specifically, I think we've seen a different Steven Gerrard. I really do. I really think that. I'm not saying the penny's dropped. I'm not saying that he's particularly changed his mentality or attitude, but he looks different. He's talking slightly differently, like that he realises that there's something's got to change here, and it was amazing. Honestly, mate, I wish you'd have been there. Honestly, I know it was away, but I think all those. I know a few people that didn't go and they gave the tickets away, and I understand why, because we've had a terrible start, and against a team like City, they can destroy the best teams in the world, 5, 6, and 7s, but to experience it, it's what football's all about, isn't it?
Definitely right. So let's have a little look at some of the things I noticed from the game. So I think, and I remember saying this in the match preview, that I think playing City, being a little bit more defensive, might give our shape a better feel. And I think because we didn't have much of the ball, it enabled the midfield to look. I mean, that's the closest that midfield's looked
Yeah,
all season, which, it should do against City, but it looks better. We've got these 3 here closer together, a focal point of a striker through here. I mean, we've not had a tip of a striker being at the top end of that pitch like that all season. The defence, barring Luca Dean over here, is looking solid as well. So I think that was a standout note. And what I did say in the preview as well is the ball over the top into this channel here, and Ollie Watkins running is the crucial ball. And we saw that time and time again in the second half, and that is why we were hurting Manchester City. So City's attacks came predominantly through the left-hand side. We were pretty even. A majority of the game was played in central midfield. Shout out to Ashley Young, who came on and was absolutely sensational. Have a look at this. Ground duels, he won 5 out of 6 ground duels, and he won his 1 out of 1 aerial duels. He was an absolute monster at right back. And I think I prefer him at right back as opposed to when he comes on at left back, because I thought he was class, weren't he, Justin?
honestly, when Matty Cash went down and it looked pretty bad because he was doing the old substitution I think, with his hands. My heart sank because I thought that the last thing we need now is a 37-year-old coming on against these young whippersnappers. I didn't have worried, to be honest. He was absolutely unreal. It literally was. It was like going back 15 years, not 10 years. You know, he was like a 20-year-old. He was ridiculous. Honestly, I think the more I think about his performance, the more I just can't get my head around it. The bloke's 37 years old, you know, and he's chasing Kevin De Bruyne about 50 yards, dispossessing him, making De Bruyne look like a total mug, and then turning around. Not only has he done all that, but he's found an amazing passing field to set up an attack.
Yeah.
And he was doing it time and time again, and he's honestly, the last 10 minutes, the shithousing he was doing to their players, he was just they couldn't
Calm,
cope
wasn't
with
it?
him, and he was chirping at them all the time. He was using his experience with them. I mean, he didn't give Foden a kick, and this is one of the best young players in the world, not just in England. I'll totally take my hat off to Ashley. In fact, I will. I'll take my hat off to Ashley Young. You know, we saw he stayed. He stayed in the summer, and we sort of went, oh, you know, if he'd have gone, I think we'd have said, fair enough. He's given us a year. He's helped us out a few games. Thanks very much. All the best. But I think he's looking like a masterstroke keeping him. Honestly, he was. I can't say anything more about him. He was sensational, and he's a bona fide Villa legend now for me.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And what I picked up on as well is it sort of mirrored the images that we were seeing when Gerrard first came in. You can see the midfield three here working in unison. You've got the two sort of 10s, should you say, in behind the striker. The defence is solid. There was organisation. We were defending this red zone in the middle of the pitch, which is the area that we want to defend. We were allowing them overloads out wide, but we were just so organised, and it just looked and felt 10 times better. Now, this was against one of the best teams in the world. So for me, I want to see this level of organisation, this level of discipline when we've got the ball as well. So against teams where we've got a little bit more possession, these are things I want to be able to see. So
I
yeah,
think just on that, that's a great picture actually. In the first half, I totally picked up on that because they had the ball for long periods in the first half, and obviously you can sort of because they're not always very quick they don't break quickly. They just sort of they batter you down, don't they? They try and like break you down, wear you down with these passes across, and they were going left and right. They were going in and out, and that setup, the 10 outfield players barely moved. Honestly, looking from high up where I was, they were like here, and then when City went left, we'd go left as a group, then we'd go right as a group, then we'd drop back a little bit, then we'd press them a little bit, and it was. I mean, he's took a lot of stick, hasn't he, Steven Gerrard? Like I said, but it was like they were that was the coaching was all like suddenly clicked.
mhm,
You know, there was none of these fullbacks bombing on, none of these eights dropping in and covering. It was everybody had their job to do, everybody had their position, and they all stuck to it absolutely religiously. And that was the only way we was going to beat him, wasn't it? Well, get a result against them. Sorry, it was that for that to happen, and it happened perfectly.
yeah.
The plan worked a treat.
And this is when we started to get a little bit more joy as well, when we sort of had runners coming through midfield. Bailey was explosive down that right-hand side, wasn't he? Watkins was making runs. And I would say as well, Watkins' hold-up play, barring that one that he did towards the end and he gave it away, was sublime. Because the amount of times he held that ball up and he just bought us that little bit of time and
Mhm.
we had runners going through. I think Watkins had a good game as well with his hold-up. Again, it was explosive, weren't it? Look at this.
Yeah,
We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 midfielders all running forward. Do you know what I mean? To try and get on the end of stuff. So I thought it was really good as well for that to see. Again, stretching Manchester City. And well, I mean, let's get on to this then. So we've mentioned this already this season on this podcast about these when you're at the games now and the play will go on and it'll go on and then the liner will just stick his flag up at the last minute and he'll let it all go on. But for this one, it's just a ridiculous. It's a ridiculous thing, isn't it? Because if you actually watch it, Watkins passes it backwards anyway. He's nowhere near offside. So VAR and especially VAR and Stockley Park, they've had a bit of a mare, haven't they, this weekend, and they've come under a lot of stick. But I kind of don't. It's not the technology which is the problem, is it?
No.
It's the people using it. So the lino here, he didn't need to put his flag up, because if he wasn't sure, and he can't be sure here because he's not offside, he just should keep it down and wait, shouldn't he? And let something play out and let the ref just ref the game. But
I
what
mean,
you
I obviously saw when Coutinho put the ball in the net. We all jumped up, but it was quickly flags up. Okay, he's off. Someone's offside, and because it never sort of got referred to VAR or anything like that. We never really thought much of it in the game. It was only when afterwards, when I was coming home, I started to see the Twitter sort of mentions of it, and I got home and I saw it, and it's pathetic. Honestly, it is pathetic. And there's been some horrific decisions this weekend. I mean, the West Ham one against Chelsea was ridiculous, but that one, like that picture there, no linesman should be putting the flag up for offside there, because it's nowhere near. It's not even marginal. He's the other side of the defender, so there is no point whatsoever. There's no need whatsoever to put that flag up. And now you could argue that the two defenders and the keeper basically stopped as soon as the ball blew. But who knows? He could have bent one in the top corner. They could have missed it. But it is ridiculous, and they've got to look at it. I know they've said today they're going to relook at it, but it's always too late when they start relooking at things, because the trouble's already been done, hasn't it? It is really pathetic. But I don't want it to take away from the performance we put in. It was brilliant. I thought tactically, he's been maligned, as I've said 3 times already, but it was great. I think they allowed City to have the ball in their own half, which I think is sensible, because they can't hurt you in their own half. And why chase them around left and right? Once they come into our half, we can engage them, and we did. I thought the shape was pretty good. The discipline was very good. Like you've said, Ollie Watkins, when you're playing up front on your own, you have to be able to hold that ball up under pressure. And there's 3 or 4 times in the game where there was 2 or 3 players around him, and he still managed to come out with the ball and set an attack up. I thought Ramsey playing in that sort of attacking left-hand side role, it suits him. It really does suit him.
really good, weren't it? First
It
time
was,
we've seen him
yeah,
do
yeah.
that.
I think first half he was a little bit, he couldn't quite get in the game, but that was down to the fact that City just have the ball for such long periods. You have very little chance to get on the ball and do anything with it. But I thought the second half, it definitely he sort of opened up a little bit when the game opened up. I thought Bailey, we've been saying it for a long time, deserves running the team, and now he's getting that running the team. We've seen the
What a
best of him, and
finish!
I thought that it's just unreal
I
finish,
mean,
and it was nice.
Ramsey fizzed that ball across. It
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't like it was
As I
just.
said,
It wasn't
it,
decreasing in speed.
no.
It stayed the same speed.
It happened so quickly. It was like broke through, cross bang goal. It was like, oh, Christ, we scored. And it was lovely to see him get that standing ovation as well. For that was nice of Gerrard to put Buendia on 90th minute, I think it was. And he loved it. He was like, he's a player. Those types of player rely on sort of purple patches, aren't they? They need loving, don't they? And they need to be loved. And you can see that with Bailey. You can see he gets down when things don't go his way and his head drops a bit. But if you can get him going and get him motoring and get him week in, week out playing, he's a hell of a player. He reminded me a bit of Mahrez, to be honest, at his best on Saturday. I know Mahrez has done it over a longer period, but that silky left foot, the way he drops his shoulder, the finish was very Mahrez-esque as well, wasn't it, coming onto it? I just loved it. I loved it. After what we've been through this season so far, to play probably one of the hardest games you've got, and to come out with it with such positives and talking so positively about it. It's a lovely change, isn't it? It's a breath
But
of fresh air.
it was Man City, and
Yeah,
we didn't win, we drew. But we've got to take the belief now, haven't we?
yeah. It's got. I think what it's happened is it's like a pressure release. That is, it's like you could feel the pressure building and building and building on Gerrard. The fans were getting more pissed off by the week. The owners were probably getting more annoyed by the week. Gerrard, you could see his frustration and things not going the way he wanted it to. And all of a sudden, that one result, albeit a draw, it just releases everything, and you feel like you can breathe again. You can feel like, right, like Gerrard said, let's reset this week. He's, don't get me wrong, he's not out of the woods yet. He's not out of the woods yet. He's had a rough ride. He's had some rough results. We've had a rough start to the season. Added to what happened at the end of last season, you look at these statistics, they're not great reading, let's be brutally honest. But he's got a chance now. He's given himself a chance. He's given himself a little bit of breathing space. We've got Leicester coming up who, I don't want to say it, they look terrible. I watched them again today against Brighton. They look shot of confidence. They look devoid of ideas. They've lost so many players. The manager's scrambling around trying to make anything work. So we go there, hopefully in better form and with better confidence. And then Southampton at home before the international break. Now, if we can get 2 really positive results in them 2 games, you go into that international break and things look totally different. Mm-hmm. It's amazing what a couple of good results do for you. But as I say, we're not out of the woods yet. Gerrard has still got a lot to do. The players have shown fight and belief in what he's trying to do and what the club want to try and do. So let's hope this is a turning point and we can start, hopefully, just these. I mean, we've set a bar now, haven't we, with that? And I'm sure he said that to them. That's your level now. You cannot drop below that level. And if they do, that's not his fault because it worked. What he wanted them to do Sunday worked, didn't it? Saturday, sorry, I'm losing track of days. It worked, didn't it? His tactics work, his formation worked, and his team selection worked. So it does prove he can do it, and the players can go and implement what he wants to do. And against arguably the best team in the world, with probably the best striker in the world, it worked against them. So if he can work against Man City, he can work against Leicester, and he can work against Southampton and Brighton and
definitely
all of them. So yeah.
Cool. So what we're going to do, we're going to quickly go through the player ratings on our website, utvpodcast.co.uk. If you want to go ahead and drop your scores in, you can see the average scores on the right-hand side. So, Justin, I'll let you just fly through them all on what you would pick. I know
I did actually do the player ratings this week on the website.
Yeah.
So I had Martinez down as a 8, I think.
Yeah.
Because I did think he made some good saves. I think Konsa I had as a 7.
Yeah.
Luca Dean 7. I think Mings had him as an 8 because I think he did really well against Erling Haaland.
He had a good game. Good game.
I thought Kamara played well, 8. Luke Louise again played well, 8. John McGinn, I think John McGinn's he's worrying me a little bit. I think he's now been taken off in 4 of the last 5 Premier League games.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the last 4 Premier League games now he's been taken off. So I do wonder whether and I hate to say it again, but whether we do seem to be better when he's off the pitch at the moment. So maybe he might be thinking of resting him over the next couple of 3 games. But I didn't think he was fantastic. He did okay, 7. I'll be fair to him with a 7.
I've gone a bit lower than that, but go on,
Ramsey.
Ramsey.
Yeah, I mean, I was going to say 6, but I thought, I think I'm being overly fair to him. Ramsey, I thought did well, 7. I think if he'd have scored, it would have been an 8 or 9. Cash I think 5 because he just didn't play much. Bailey a solid 8. I thought Watkins was an 8.
Yeah.
And Ashley Young, I'd give him 10.
10, man. You've got to have a 10 for Young.
First perfect 10 this season.
Yeah.
Coutinho did all right when he come on, 7, and Buendia did, just only had a couple of minutes, so give him a 6, yeah.
There we go. So we'll drop our ratings in there. So Villa fans, you can go ahead, interactive, get involved, have a go at doing them. I think that's us done now for our match reaction against Manchester City. If you can go ahead and vote for us, we've got until midnight on Sunday, so we should find out in a couple of weeks whether we've got through. We will be back with our match preview, predicted lineups coming out this week as well, so stay tuned for our content. Gotta say, thank you everybody who watched us in August. We had the best month we have ever had on the channel. We had over 140,000 views in 1 month. That is incredible. I've blown away by it, to be fair. So thank you everyone that's been watching us, supporting us, commenting, getting involved in all of our interactive things that we're doing as well. But for me, if we can get into this final, I'll be over the moon. So please go ahead and vote. If you've already done it, just try and do it again because you might be able to vote twice. So thank you very much. And up the
I've
Villa.
got a couple of things. Sorry,
Come
I know
then.
somebody mentioned about this pillow. I don't know if it's this one or this one, but I've asked the wife, and she got them from redbubble.com. I think it is on the internet. So if anybody wants them, and hello to all the people that came up and spoke to me at the Villa yesterday. Great seeing everybody just
You
coming
saw
saying
Richard,
hello.
didn't you?
So Richard, yeah, great. He's bought one of me, old jumpers off me, Villa jumper. So yeah, had a good chat with him. He's a lovely bloke. Yeah, and everybody that just came up and said hi to me and just had a chat about the Villa. There was a family that sat next to us that came over and said, "You did a podcast." So it's lovely. I'd talk to everybody all day about the Villa. So feel free to come over and talk to any of us because we love it. We love talking to people. It's what we do it for.
You're getting famous, Justin.
I won't go that far, but it was just nice. It's just weird when people come up to you and say, "All right, Justin," and you think, and then they tell you it's the pod. You realise, okay, yes, sound, and they're lovely. Everybody's been lovely, honestly, really nice.
Cool.
I
Right.
spoke to Alicia Lehman as well. She was lovely as well.
Cool. Right. So we'll see you in the week up the Villa.
Hope the